Hello, everyone. My name is Joan Yanagos, and I'm on the board of Near and Far Aid. On behalf of Near and Far Aid, I'd like to welcome you today to Deck the Halls, a virtual discussion on holiday decorating and beyond, presented to you by Connecticut Cottages and Gardens. Near and Far Aid is an all-volunteer fundraising and fund granting organization. We work to eliminate the causes and effects of poverty in Fairfield County by finding and funding programs that seek to achieve lasting change. This past year, we granted over $1.25 million to 110 agencies in Fairfield County. Since 2000, we have granted over $22 million to fight poverty and provide vital services to those in need in our community. We raise our funds through corporate sponsorships, individual donations, and events. In a normal year, we would have held our annual house tour in Westport and Fairfield in May, but due to COVID, we had to cancel that event. We are incredibly grateful to our exclusive house tour media sponsor, Connecticut Cottages and Gardens, for producing this event today. I would also like to thank our house tour leader sponsors, the Hatfield Insurance Community Fund, Kohler's Signature Store by Plimpton and Hills, and our supporting sponsor, Henry C. Reed and Son Jewelers, and our many friend sponsors. To learn more about Near and Far Aid, our mission, and to make a donation if you wish, please visit our website at nearandfaraid.org. The URL will also be shown at the conclusion of today's presentation. I would like to start the presentation by introducing DJ Carey. DJ is the editorial director of Connecticut Cottages and Gardens. Connecticut Cottages and Gardens is a monthly magazine that she helped create in 2004. DJ began her career at House and Garden and has held senior editorial positions at Ladies Home Journal, Red Book, Family Circle, Brides, and Better Homes and Gardens. It is my pleasure to introduce you to today, DJ Carey. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan. It's so wonderful to be here, and I'm so excited to be talking about something as fun as decking the halls on this rainy, icky day. So as many of you know, I'm DJ. Hi, everyone. I am so proud of our three magazines, CTC&G, NYC&G, and HC&G, which inspire and cover the very best of interiors, architecture, and garden design in all of our three geographical areas. We not only celebrate the talent in these areas, but we are so deeply rooted in these communities through our partnerships with charities such as Near and Far. And thank you, Near and Far, for your incredible support for Fairfield County and a much needed role of financial support for many, many people. So I'm happy and thrilled to be moderating Deck the Halls discussion today. I'm beyond thrilled to be sitting down with these very talented designers, and I hope to inspire and bring some holiday sparkle to you and into your homes. I'm going to start first with introducing Laura Michaels of Laura Michaels Interior Design, which is a full-service design firm specializing in residential and commercial interiors. Laura actually started her career as a fashion designer, and she thrives on finding the perfect combination of textiles and other materials and using them in an unexpected way. In fact, in December, she finished a client's home and loved it so much, she decided, let's deck it out for the holidays. And she called me, and I was mesmerized by how beautiful and sophisticated it is. And you'll see it on the pages of our December issue. So there's a sneak peek. Next on our panel are Carolyn McDonough and Cynthia Martello of Diane James Home. They are the dynamic, identical twins, and I never can tell them apart. And they're the twin daughters of Diane James, and they're co-CEOs of this wonderful company. This Connecticut-based family business creates gorgeous faux floral arrangements, so realistic, even bees get fooled. They launched their first collection at Neiman Marcus In 1998, Diane James faux florals have transformed chic city apartments, five-star hotel suites, private yachts, Hollywood sets, and even presidential libraries. In 2008, Carolyn and Cynthia launched a web store, and in 2019, they opened their own showroom in Norwalk to the public where their creations are displayed. I've worked with these two dynamos, and I can tell you that their creations are beyond expectations. So I'm delighted to have them join our panel. And lastly, Sam Allen of Sam Allen Interiors, who has been designing since he was very young. In fact, I published a suite of rooms he did when he was just 17. And these days, you can find Sam decorating homes all across the country. His design is always classic and fresh, and Sam's work has graced national design magazines, including our magazine, CTC&G, has appeared on national talk shows. His enthusiasm for holiday decor can also be seen on the pages of CTC&G December issue. So let's start decking the halls. And please note, if you have any questions, we will be able to answer them at the end of our panel discussion. If you just enter your questions in the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So to start things off, I'm wondering, how often are all of you hired by your clients to decorate their homes for the holiday?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this discussion. In this particular instance, this client did not come to me directly. I approached the client. I thought the home was so beautiful that it screamed holiday decor, and it just needed to be photographed in its best light. And as you can see from this page alone, this room would be beautiful if it was empty, but the setting with the piano and the bust and just a little bit of poinsettia and greenery just brings it to life. And of course,
I couldn't agree more. And as I love that Laura said that and chimed in about that, because I saw her beautiful story in this month's December issue of Connecticut Cottage and Gardens. And, you know, in our firm, we actually do get pursued by not all of our clients. We have a certain niche of clients who ask us year after year, who want this over the top, festive, and do not know how to achieve that themselves, and really want a storybook, magical home for the holidays type of look. So we come in, they hire us.
Sam,
coming in, DJ?
Can I ask, how early do you start decorating these homes? Just in terms of, like, do you start right at Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving?
Well, you know, like in the editorial world, we shot my house before Halloween. So my house has been decorated for Halloween, and it never took it down since before Halloween. But typically for clients, they want half the clients, they have to be prepared the day after Thanksgiving. Okay. So we had half them installed this past Friday. So it just takes a lot of time between, you know, I'm not literally hanging the lights in the trees outside myself, I'm not gonna lie, but I have my amazing team where we coordinate whether it's the garlands, the greenery, the magnolia wreaths, boxwood wreaths. Are we gonna do garlands on the columns? You know, yes, it does take away, and I am always confused. Like, I was raised with, Jewish and Catholic, but, you know, kind of decorating a tree with your family. But I think that whole nostalgia is lost, at least with my clients, where they're just like, come in, do it. We want it to look like a magazine. And yes, they do give us some certain, you know, I like to work with as many personal belongings that are meaningful to them. But, you know, it could be a single room or the whole house. We set most of their tables for Thanksgiving dinner. We do multiple trees in the home. And every year, we typically buy new stuff, which is fun. I mean, I get to spend people's money for a living. It's quite fun.
Okay, Sam, I'm going to cut you off right here, because I know that when I talked to Cynthia and Carolyn, because you guys work on a commercial level, the timing is different, is it not?
We, well, in terms of our holiday collection, we tend to put our holiday collection to bed in April. So we work like the fashion industry, and we tend to create our fall, winter, and holiday collection. Some of it is behind us in April, so that our top buyers at department stores and retail stores then get to see it in July and place their orders way before the holidays even hit, the retail stores. When it comes to special projects, we do holiday decor, but only really on a special project type of basis, where we're either shooting a tree for the New York Times or we're doing presidential library, and that can take up to a year to recreate. So we work well in advance. We are not the type of people who show up at your house on the Friday after Thanksgiving to do everything in one fell swoop.
In terms of because now that you have a showroom in Norwalk, in terms of the public, do they have to make an appointment, and are there decor, holiday decor items still available?
There are. We do suggest that you call in advance to make sure that one of us is in the office, especially during the busy holiday season. And we do have our fall and winter collection available. Most of them are all made to order, so they are customizable. But our lead time right now is about a couple of weeks. So you still have time to place your orders for the holidays.
Now, let's talk about the focus areas when you guys go into a residential project like decking the halls. Let's talk about the table. Is that a primary concern of your clients? Laura, I see that we have 3 beautiful images from you. You want to talk about these projects in terms of the table decor and how you developed it?
Right. So for me, holiday is all about the table. You're serving food, your family is gathering around. It should be a party, and it should be a display. And the table is that one opportunity to really have an individual focus for each person that's sitting down. So their silverware should be wrapped in, in some sort of, greenery, or it should have their name on it. The table should be set in layers and layers. I love bringing in as much of the outdoors into the indoors, and I think that that's a very successful treatment in Christmas. But it also is giving you the ability of bringing in the scent of pine and all the Christmas history memories, sort of you're recalling all your memories, and that's a treat as well. But the tablescape, I always like this sort of long spread of candles and pine and candlelight, a little bit of everything. And it's a little bit of a vignette at the table setting itself, but then the table itself as a whole should definitely read.
Does it set the look for the entire house? How do you all feel about that? Or
well,
can it be
I think in decorating, you always want the house to have one feel.
Okay.
I think when you start seeing a very fragmented approach to design, it feels chaotic.
Okay.
In this particular house, the house reads from one room to another, the same, obviously not the same design, but the same philosophy, the same style. It's clean, it's modern, but there's definitely a traditional edge as well, which is important.
Great. I think
And I would add one thing to what Laura, I liked what Laura said was, it's, for me, it's not that the inspiration comes from the dining table or the dining vignette or tablescape, but it needs to be kind of cohesive in the other aspects and other finishes and materials, like you use the word pine a lot, whatever you're going to use throughout the rest of your home, you want that note also on your tablescape, so it's not like the first time you're seeing it. You want it, that hint to be spread out throughout your home. So whether I chose magnolia this year, so there was magnolia garland on the mantle, the front door. I did mix in some other types of greenery, but magnolia was mainly it. And just, like Laura said, I just think the moodier the better, of just tons of votives with tea lights in it down the tablescape and conversation. And right now that's really what we, regardless of the pandemic and everyone's parties being smaller, I don't think it's an excuse to pass up family traditions and getting exciting about the holidays.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Cynthia and Carolyn, talk to me about this. It seems like there's a very formal edge, but you have a whimsical, almost childlike edge with the nutcrackers.
This was a project we did down in South Carolina for an influencer, and she teamed up with at Home, the girls whom we know very well. So it was a lot of fun to partner with another female creative team. And this is a family gathering. She's got young children, and so she wanted to layer in festive nutcrackers at every place setting, as well as the florals, and then there's ceramic pomegranates. And the tablecloth is a wonderful way of kind of anchoring everything. It's got the red and white that work with the whole room. And then she accented, obviously, using red and white flowers from our collections. And then you can't see it, but every bowl then held, every place setting held a bowl that had Christmas kisses. So it was like red, white, and green was the theme for that table.
I'm surprised that you guys use so many flowers, because typically I don't see that on a holiday table. And I love the fact that you're mixing greens with flowers. And are there greens that work better with flowers than others?
Well, we just like using all sorts of pine. The bouquet that you see in front of you actually has protea as well as pine in it. When you're mixing faux florals, there really isn't any rules of thumb. We don't know how, when you're mixing fresh flowers, we do know that some fresh flowers don't play well with other fresh flowers, because sap will get into the water and then will affect the bloom of the actual floral. But with faux, anything really goes. And so we like to mix in magnolias, we do pine, we do juniper, eucalyptus is really hot right now in faux. So it really, there is no rhyme or reason, I think, with faux. And because you see this now as well, we just try to kind of imitate what we see in floral design.
It's really beautiful, and it's very happy. I love what you guys did on the sideboard here in the same space. Is that the same space? Am I correct in that assumption? Yes?
It's the same space. It's
like,
right behind the table.
And tell me again, here you really pumped up the golds.
I love that.
That was at the request of the client. Sideboards are often they're neglected in a dining room. We always focus our attention on the table, but sideboards are a great way to add in sparkle and color. And we were trying to bring warmth to the room as well, and it flows so nicely with the frame around this colorful painting.
Yeah, it's very, very pretty. I think, JB, we can go to the next slide.
I'll say one quick thing. I have used Diane James's, how many years have I had those Magnolia Stems girls? Probably, I don't know, at least 7 years with Part Blossom. People ask me if they're real, and I have them in glass cylindrical containers. You just use a Swiffer, and they, year after year, look magnificent, because magnolia branches are quite costly. So
yeah,
you're saving a lot of money.
They're fickle.
They're amazing.
I love this. Is this on a mantle?
No, this is actually part of an installation we did at the George W. Bush Presidential Library at SMU. We recreated the 2005 White House decorations
Wow.
for Bush. And these were silver urns that we filled with, I think we had to hand paint 360 tulips. The exact
Wow.
hot pink
Beautiful.
color that Laura wanted, or Mrs. Bush wanted, did not exist in faux. So we took 5 tulips and spray painted 360 of them to
Oh my gosh. That's
from the Presidential Library. Yeah.
so. Everyone, can you talk to me about scent? Like, do you guys like scent on a table, or do you like the greenery to kind of be the scent? What's your take on that?
So one of my favorite flowers is the lily, and it has such a fragrant aroma. And so for me, I love scent, but I think it's a combination of scent. The paper whites, which I used in this, have an incredible scent. I think it adds to the ambiance to have this smell, and of course, you know, scented candles. So for me, it's all about all of the senses.
Okay.
Including scent.
I think it's about creating an experience almost,
Right.
and that's why I like using scents, as Laura just mentioned as well. But then you have some people who are like, oh, well, it takes away from like the food. I don't want to be smelling that, you know, and then my food, like, I just like how I like things.
Well, can't you move the scent away from the actual table?
And now they actually make a product that I'm hooked on by a candle company. I could be pronouncing it wrong. Times or Thymes. Don't make fun of me. I don't know what it is, but it's a great candle company. They now make a room spray, and I now and linen. I spray my entire house with it because I want the whole house to smell like a Christmas tree. But it's so good, and so if you don't want to get flowers that are scented, you can spray throughout your house this scent they now do, which I had the box with me. I bought like 5 of them. Throughout your house, because some people are sensitive or allergic or this, that, and the other. But I just love the clean paper whites and all that. Like Laura mentioned, I chose roses this year, just red roses, and I'm usually not a red person or into color, but something about them in the polished silver mint julep cups and the greenery just made it.
I think also.
I'm sorry. I just want to go back one slide, JB, because we didn't talk about these two. Sam, the image on the left, is that like a kitchen eating area?
So there's 2 images you're looking at.
Okay.
One is the Eden breakfast nook in my kitchen, which is I am someone, and it's very hard with me with my clients. I am more like beauty and less like more beauty over like functionality. That's just who I am. Obviously with clients and young children, I adapt to it. But so for example, I like, is this as conducive when you're sitting down for breakfast? The left image, they're beautiful etched hurricanes that I filled with a theme. I wanted blush gold and glass glittered silver, just balls that I filled them to the brim with. Usually they have candle pillars. And then I had these amazing wicker, they're from France, 3 sizes that usually stack in the middle with a bowl of lemons. I found these great glass glittered kind of like pieces of just like almost like but like balls with just like twigs. And I just felt they just added that nice little height. And then that I thought was more casual and went with the kind of, you know, those are, I kind of thought I went with that robin's egg blue pendant that's on a dolly that's above. And then we have a more formal setting in the formal dining room, which has the mint julep cups filled with red roses. I did these mercury etched fluted vases with ivory feather wreaths around the top with these giant silver hammered balls on top to give it a height and variance. And then I mixed in these beautiful pure glass, they were very delicate, that I found at Terrain, glass glittered trees, staggered in between, and you can't see the votives, but there's, actually you can, but they're not lit. And then I mixed in some of my family heirlooms that my mother has given to me that have been passed down, like the gold monogram Wedgwood and the Tiffany silver. And then those on each plate, I always like to say at Thanksgiving or Christmas, you want your guests to leave with something, like a little gift.
Right.
So on each person's place setting, I left this year, it's a grouping of glass glittered, I love anything glass glittered, faux pine cones that have a beautiful gray velvet bow and a string on the behind of it that you can use as an ornament. You can hang from a wreath that they just get to take home with them.
Yeah, I'm seeing that all of you actually in your formal table settings did not use a full tablecloth, which is interesting. Sam and Laura,
usually I'm a tablecloth person, and to be honest, I was struggling with patterns and the motifs that I wanted. I could not find what I wanted, and I was just like, I'm just going to use.
And I'm never a tablecloth person. I want the wood. I want the richness.
Agreed. The beautiful,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Let's continue these images.
And then the left slide you just passed, I'll say quickly on that. That was just an up close of this beautiful, beautiful round rattan table that I filled a silver plated bowl filled with blue etched large balls with these glass glittered green pine cone ornaments. But instead of hanging them, I casually like them just kind of nonchalantly laying there on the Savoy Hotel platter. Right. And then in the background, you see my collection of blue and white ginger jars with green and white parrot tulips I love year round, with some red berries to add some height and some more glittered trees to mix in.
Okay, let's move on, Sam. I know you're very enthusiastic.
Sorry, beep, done.
Here's the inside of that house that you just
Beautiful.
finished. And it's amazing how you added Christmas in a very elegant and edited way, so it's not gloppy. I think one of the fears people have is that it can get gloppy really fast.
Very quickly, right. And then it starts getting cheap. The beauty of this home is the architectural details that are in abundance everywhere. That beautiful French limestone fireplace requires very little. We did try to find something that would center on the fireplace, but of course there were concerns that we could possibly damage it.
Right.
So we really tried to keep it very simplistic. And to the point that was made earlier, the consistency and the repetition of material is what ties everything together as well. So I didn't really need much of anything on this fireplace other than the fireplace itself, but a little bit of greenery and a topiary for the formality and a wreath just makes it feel like Christmas.
Wow. And I think we have some more. I love the fact that you decided to add a little Christmas to the kitchen, but again, it's well edited. I think you use fresh flowers with greenery, nothing too over the top, but again, it wakes up all of your senses.
Right. Well, again, the room is magnificent. And the custom table that I made with the brass base just sort of set everything off and really pulls in the sparkle. But the room is very large. There's a lot of windows. So again, just that simple little wreath. And then, of course, a table setting that creates a little vignette that really tells a story that's saying, sit down, have a drink, eat something, welcome to my home. And it's very, very personal and very casual. And yet at the same time, this room is very, very almost formal.
Yeah, I love this room because it still looks like a kitchen. Sometimes you go into these houses and you don't remember what room you're in.
Right.
Okay, let's move on because there's so much to see. This is gorgeous. This is a mantle that Diane James Home did. I love this. I love the mix of greens, what greens did you use in there?
There is, there's pine and cypress, and I believe some juniper in there. It is a fresh garland that we installed. The homeowner lives in a penthouse on Fifth Avenue overlooking the Met, and all of the rooms are painted a very pale shades of the colors that are pulled in by these Christmas balls. And so she was very specific about what she wanted on her tree and the colors pulled into the room. And so we found these German-made balls, and the varying sizes creates interest as well as the colors, and the shades then are pulled through the entire house.
So how do you get those beautiful Christmas balls to stay still? What's the trick?
They're all wired in. You wire. You use a lot of wire, and you have to wire them in.
I have so many cuts after Christmas because of the wiring. I love this. This is going to Sam's comment about your beautiful magnolia branches. This is stunning.
This is a beautiful home in New Canaan that had hand-painted wallpaper in the dining room. And again, we were talking about sideboards always just kind of being the orphan of Christmas. We decorate our sideboards all the time, and this just lent itself to the faux magnolia branches, as well as a really wonderful antique star, which replicates kind of the shapes that are seen actually in the sideboard itself. And so, it's just layering different heights and different objects. You don't have to go, this is a little more edited. The homeowner was definitely a little more edited as a person, but it creates just a festive yet simple and really pretty environment for the dining room.
And those branches are handmade, right? You hand make all of your florals, or no?
We don't. No. Sadly, there are no companies in the United States that actually manufacture artificial flowers. So all of our flowers do come from China. We buy them from U.S. importers because we love to support American companies, and it also allows us to refuse the stems that are not the quality that we demand in our products. So we do buy them, from U.S. importers.
But what I'm asking, I guess, is that the branches are single branches that you put in there, and what looks like water is not water, right?
Correct. So we hand make all of our floral designs for our customers, and we do pour a very high grade faux water material. It won't change color over time. A lot of Chinese products are made with the acrylic, and that turns yellow very quickly in about 6 months. So ours, we guarantee our water for about 5 years.
Mine have held up, I have to tell you. It's very impressive. All right, JB, I think that, Sam, just in time, talk to me about how you use the magnolias, which is a very southern plant, but it's nice to see it in the Northeast.
And we're looking in the former living room. So this room has extremely tall ceilings, with very rustic beams. So we needed height on the mantle. So these are just cylindrical vases that I purchased from maybe IKEA. And then I went out, and it is a mix of Diane James's pure magnolia stem branches mixed with some that have blossom. So you're getting a mix of the blossom and just the beautiful greenery. And I literally have these for 8 years. I keep them up year round. I just dust them. Then I added towards the center to bring in a little more of a smaller vignette, these white feather trees. I love anything feather with the glass glitter base. Just give me 10 of them. I had a pair of those flanking a beautiful oil painting. And then I did
your glass.
Yes, DJ?
I said I noticed that you used a lot of your cake stands and.
I am a glass cloche addict. I'm obsessed with finding glass cloches on buying trips, in stores, in places you would not find them, with a cake stand or without. I think it is so beautiful doing an array. Those ornaments sitting on that side table are on a beautiful tinsel trading company paper stand with glass glitter etching with a mercury with a glass cloche over it. And inside are my favorite ornaments that I own, which I kid you not, was Martha Stewart's first line at Kmart. They are robin's egg blue with glass glittered polka dots. And then I did a faux magnolia garland around like a double swag with some glass glitter pine cones hanging in the center with silk ribbon. And I still like to keep some things that would normally be in the home if it was not the holidays, like this vignette with all that stays there year round. My blue and white ginger jar collection. I always have those orchids from Diane James in the center with the preserved sheet moss, but I added some red berries in the back for some height and festive. And then I love green and white parrot tulips year round mixed in. And then I have these staggered 3 different heights of these glass glittered just street trees that come out just straight. And that's how I filled this beautiful big armoire, kind of credenza, if you will. And
there's a great decorating tip here in the sense that you get more bang for your dollar if you group, like Laura, or I think it was Diane James Home, did a collection of candles, and here Sam did a collection of blue and white. I think that there are areas in everyone's house where you have a collection, but you get more bang if you group them and then add a little holiday decor.
And I try and strive and push my client, and I guarantee you, Laura and Diane James, the girls will agree as well, that I push them to try and collect and buy pieces that are building them a collection over time, so they can do things like this when I'm not around, and they're not just left with an accessory. What do I do with that later?
I think it's also very effective to have a collection that has one thought rather than random pieces.
I did it,
and that's what's making this so impactful.
Exactly.
Yeah, and those are the Diane James orchids, faux, you would never know. And then the shot we skipped just in the center island, which is an old butcher's block that I had electrified on the island. I just did white pedestals, with these beautiful oversized, I kind of go too over the top, but it's just how I am, with these mercury etched hurricane balls to fill the containers. And then I had this old piece with lions on either and filled that with red roses, which ties in then to you walk through the butler's pantry into the dining room, where you then see the red roses again down the table.
Okay, let's move on to trees. I think just because we're short on time, guys, because there's so much to cover.
Shocker.
Talk to me about, like, when I can't believe you guys do clients' trees. That is like a job in itself, but it's amazing when you see how people design trees. I see on the left that you did a color theme. The one
I love Laura's
is more natural and it's a collection. And the one on the right, I can't quite see because of the way the slide is. But you want to talk to me about how you start with a tree and how you create something that's holds together?
I think one of the interesting thing is how we start any project, and in particular for holiday. For me, it would start with a trip to the florist, to the nursery, to Terrain, which is an amazing source for holiday decor. And once you start gravitating towards whatever the pull that you have, so whatever it is, and from one season to another, it's going to change whether or not you want it really casual and organic. For me, it's always about being fairly calm, not being overly accessorized. Now, these rooms are not my rooms, just in all fairness. I did not pull either of this. This to me was inspirational. And this was a starting point. So whoever did these 3 rooms did a beautiful job, but it was not me. The reason I pulled these 3 in particular looks was, one was more excess, where it was really showing a lot of ornaments and a lot of ribbon, and it was very full. The other was very simplistic and almost in a Nordic way, so that you could have a very casual approach, and depending on the decor of the home, you would tailor it specifically to that home. And the next was, it's all about not only bringing in a Christmas tree, but bringing in branches and decorating your chandelier and your table and your chairs, and everywhere you look that there's greenery and it feels abundantly Christmas.
Yeah.
So I chose these three to reflect how I go about the process. This is my room. And in this particular case, again, it was just a matter of bringing in the poinsettias and the paperwhites to complement everything else that was going on in the room, along with all the glassware as well, which coordinated back to everything. But again, it was just very, very clean and simplistic. And this particular theme worked with this particular home.
It's beautiful. I believe this is Diane James. You guys, is this in the same New York apartment that the mantle?
This was the client. She is the CEO of a big real estate firm in New York, and so the brief was to not only bring in the colors from around the home, and as you can see, the balls that are on the tree are the similar ones that we had on the mantle,
right,
but bring in the color of her art, as well as the different rooms in her penthouse. But she also had us commission monument or landmarks, New York landmarks. So all of the ornaments that are on the tree are the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty and Rockefeller Center. And we found a company in San Francisco that actually made these for us. So all of the ornaments then harking back to what she does in real estate. It was a fun project. This is one that basically started in January of that year and culminated in the decorating of the apartment on the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Oh my God, it must have been sad to take it down after all that work.
Well, she was a very particular client, and she in fact had our mother show up the night of an opera. Our mother Diane was running into the city for the opera, and she got this panic phone call saying that one of the branches was touching the wall because it was dying. And these walls, I guess, had been painted by some famous painter. Well, actually, it was Donald Kaufman.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Walls. And so our mother, Diane, wrapped in her mink coat, ran into the apartment to snip off the branch, which had just basically broken during the installation. It was like the whole tree was dead. But I think that was probably the last time we did a fresh installation the day after Thanksgiving.
All right, I think we have a tree. Oh, there's Sam's tree. It's so pretty. You want to talk to me about the colors?
Oh,
Sam.
yes. Oh, there's the picture I love of myself. Okay. That was supposed to be the cover. Just kidding. But anyway, that was literally this is this year's tree that I put up 2 nights ago.
Wow.
And Jennifer was emailing me. She's like, Sam, just a little bit in my room. I'm like, I know the tree, I have to get it up. So I typically do to the right of the fireplace in the formal living room, because there are such tall ceilings, a 12-foot tree.
Wow.
This year it was not happening. It was just it was not going to happen. So you've been to the house, DJ. So it's been through many renovations. This is in the older house, part of the house, and the ceiling height is only it's only 8.5 feet tall. So the tree is 8 feet tall. I don't like them personally in the space that it goes in. It cannot be too chubby and too wide, although I do like a little bit of a wider tree. And basically the theme I wanted this year, it is a balsam fir. And I've been collecting, I was raised Jewish, but I'm a gay Jew, so I celebrate all holidays. But anyway, so I wanted the theme this year. I hate using the word theme, but I truly did want this year it to be a mix of golds, silvers, and blush.
It's
and
pretty.
and
I
white.
actually wouldn't think that blush was a holiday decor color, but I'm seeing it more and more. And like
I
more.
love that.
And you can't even and they're hanging from leather. I mean, Train, I must say, as Laura said, Train and Millie Raid in Fairfield County, and mixed with your greenery from Diane James, is the places they are all out for the holidays for Christmas. So the ornaments, and then I used a very old Scottish. You'll see a lot of people using nowadays these cone wicker or rattan that are like in the shape of a stump, so it hides the base and it's easy to put in the water. I just think it looks, I don't like the look of it. And yes, it's a little annoying. You have to move the blanket when you water it, but I just like that this old Scottish touch. It has some browns in it, some blues in it. There's this big white dove with a white tail glittered. And then there's a star on the top that originally was glass glittered, but as you know, it oxidizes over time back in the day from Dovecoat. And I have not had the chance to put on from Pottery Barn yet the white, they're basically just white beads that are going to layer and layer around. So that is my tree this year. And I will then, yes, DJ?
I said it's beautiful.
Thank you. And the plan is I like just doing simple wraps, either in black paper or in parchment style grocery bag paper, and then just do red ribbon, and that's it.
It's beautiful. Well, speaking of trees, I wanted to include these two trees because they are the way to end a PowerPoint presentation. So Cynthia and Carolyn, do you want to tell us what you did at this is the Bush Library, I believe, on the left?
That's correct. So this was the same install that we did for Laura Bush, recreating a Christmas tree that they had in their home in 2005. The theme was all things bright and beautiful, and we had to, the tree that Laura or Mrs. Bush had in the White House had fresh Casablanca lilies in little test tubes, which you can buy. You can find little test tube hangers and actually put fresh flowers in your tree.
Wow.
It was nice in terms of a scent. You can do that with paper whites as well, Laura. But in this case, we found those test tubes and actually did them in faux. And there were about 250 lily ornaments that we handmade with our faux water in the bottom.
How long did it take you to actually put all the ornaments on that tree?
We actually did not do the install for this. We were not invited down to do the install. We were just invited to do all of the ornaments as well as the different displays. So there were probably about 8 different displays. We also did some Scottish, what are they? They're Scotty topiaries.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. So they did the install themselves. I think that they installed everything in September because they wanted to have that walk-through traffic of the library. So that was a lot of fun.
And talk to me about the picture of your mother. That appeared in the New York Times, did it not?
That's correct. That is Guy Trebay from the New York Times. That is his Christmas tree in 2004. He had seen a number of installations that our mother had done previously and wanted a special tree done for him. And the tree itself is 14 feet tall and 15 feet tall, and it uses all of the ornaments that he's collected over the years in his travel. A lot of them are from India, and so our mother tied in the India theme with a beautiful raw silk skirt around the bottom of the tree. And this one actually appeared in the Sunday Styles section in 2004, all about having other people decorate your Christmas tree.
Wow, it's beautiful. Well, I'm going to close the visuals right now. Can I ask for each one of you, what was your most memorable job, good or bad, in terms of doing a holiday decor?
Well, for me, these clients in New Canaan were special from the minute I met them. So this was an incredible client. I would show up with bags of accessories and furniture, and the husband, and usually the husband sees the decorator and he's running for the hills. Like, what is this costing me? And he would come running out, helping me with the bags. And he'd say, oh, it's like Christmas every day with you, you know? And so his enthusiasm in bringing this house to fully, you know, fully developed was wonderful. And so to experience that with two people who were so pleased to be a part of the process, it was incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah, and you look at those pictures and it shows. So Carolyn and Cynthia, what was either great or not so great, and why?
We won't talk about the not so great because it's
Okay.
that time of the year. We'll talk about the great. I would say that the Bush Library installation was one of the most fun things that we did. There were so many different aspects to it and different types of arrangements that it really, you know, you looked at the hot pink tulips with the hairs that were around the base of those arrangements, and you sort of scratched your head and said, really, holiday? But I think that holiday means different things to different people. And it's fun to be creative and out of the box and do something fun like cover your tree with lilies or create little spotty terriers out of ivy that had ribbons around their neck. So there was a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to try to figure out, which was a lot of fun.
And Sam?
For me, it would have to be, and you remember the story because we published it in, I think it was November or December issue, would be that home in Ridgefield, that lovely family that was really, they let me, it wasn't published for the holidays that DJ published, was kind enough to publish the home, but I just had developed such and still do, where I have dinner with them probably 2 to 3 nights a week. They become such close friends of mine, and coming in and being at, it's not, I don't even get asked, just assume that Sam does Thanksgiving, Sam does Christmas. So that's really the most rewarding, like Laura said, is when you really have the clients on board and they're just excited as you, because sometimes you're not always going to get a client who is excited and gets excited over what you're installing, and they're just going to expect it to happen because they've hired you. And when you have a client that reacts the same way and is just excited as you are, that is what makes doing what I think we all do worth it, and why we do what we do for a living.
All right, I have some questions. So are you ready? One question is, what are some of the must-dos when you're decorating a tree? So, like, are there things that you should do and things that you shouldn't, or is it just the shape of the tree and what you have dictates it?
I think Sam wants to go first.
I just want to say, I just think if you're talking about from the second you select it, you first want to know what size your ceiling height is. That's the number one, what size you're working with. Do you want it to be a more narrow profile or a wider, fatter profile? Or do you want that kind of like a Charlie Brown, like my ex loves that look where there's like, you know, like barely any tree limbs? And then it is, I would say, and then I'll go on to everyone to answer in their own form of decorating. You definitely want to give it one night to let the branches settle. Fill it with water, let it settle, pull all the arms out, and then decorate as you please.
So do you do the lights first and you wrap them like Martha?
Yes, the lights, I like them to be as far in as to be shown, like that's why I toy with the idea of a faux tree sometimes, because the lights are such a pain.
Yeah.
But yes, I like a very bright tree, but it's figuring out a way to hide them in a way and mesh them and kind of mix them in, and then from there you really are going to develop, like Laura said, are you walking into a terrain or to Diane James showroom and getting inspiration from there, and that sparks an idea to, I want to do this type of a theme this year. Or maybe you're not in a position, like many, and you can't go out and buy all new ornaments every year. That's not uncommon. So what do I have that I can work with?
Right. So Laura, any tips in terms of when you're about to start the tree, what you should, besides like buying the right tree for hanging the heavy ornaments or the light ornaments you might have, and let it we're just,
I think with all design, you have to identify the area that the tree is going in.
okay.
And obviously that is going to dictate the size. So if you have a tall ceiling, if you have a short ceiling, I think many times, and anyone who celebrates Christmas, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. You know, we can all sing the song. And when people buy homes, they buy homes with the idea of where they're putting their Christmas tree.
Yeah, you're
This is my Christmas tree spot. This is the room I'm going to have my Christmas tree.
Right.
If they're only having one, if they have an entry and they can put the Christmas tree there. So if they can have multiple spots, obviously the more you can put in, and I know that somewhere along the line there was that question of excess, but there's never too many trees. So you're identifying the perfect location, and then you're picking the tree. The other thing is that when you pick a tree, you really want to see that tree on all sides, so that you don't have a big empty spot or a dead area or something like that that you then have to work with. And I think that's the simplest, easiest approach to.
Or you do what I do when you're at night picking the tree at Stu Leonard's, and I get it home and there's a bad spot. We just put that in the corner.
In the corner, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, here's another question for Laura. Where can I find a bust for my piano? I love it so much. It's gorgeous.
So that piece was imported from France. It is not original, but it certainly looks like it is. And I bought that and have them in my studio in Greenwich.
Well,
and interestingly, the minute I saw that room, I looked at them and said, "Oh my, I have a bust for this room." So.
Well, it's really gorgeous. I don't think we have time for any more questions, but I am going to ask that everyone who has been on this Zoom call and this panel discussion to please remember to donate, if you can, to Near and Far, because of all the great work. And this year we all need to be as generous as we can. And we have someone thanking all of us. Everyone had a good time. I hope you all had a little sparkle added to your day, and go out there and deck those halls. I want to see a lot of greenery out there. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. And
thank you, DJ. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Laura. Bye, girls.
Bye.
Holidays.